It's good morning here. I am making flatbreads, yay! Because once again I waited till last minute and I'm hungry. So I figured I should probably have a snack to nosh on with like meats or with dips or whatever. So I'm gonna try this recipe that I found because this is once again me getting rid of yogurts, and this is the last of the yogurt I needed to get rid of. So we're in a good place here. This recipe, I don't remember where it's from, but it only uses 2 ingredients to make the flatbread, and I'm probably gonna change it a little bit, or who am I kidding? Change it enough where how I cook it is probably gonna be different, because I don't really like how many steps it is and I'm kind of lazy. Or maybe I'll just do it, I don't know, we'll figure it out. So this recipe only calls for a self-rising flour and yogurt, almost a 1-to-1 ratio. There's a little bit less yogurt than the actual flour. Now, self-rising flour you can easily make yourself. This says 2 ingredients, but in my opinion this basically means 5 because I'm gonna make it. Or I already did. So here it says 2 cups of self-rising flour. Usually self-rising flour has a certain amount of baking powder, baking soda, and salt. This one didn't say that, but most self-rising flours have them. So this one has about a tablespoon, which is 3 teaspoons of baking powder, a half teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking soda and a half teaspoon of salt, and then the rest of it is flour. So you can use different flours if you want because of the way that it's being made. You just want to make sure that it's not one that's going to be very brittle. So you wouldn't use a coconut flour because that soaks up a lot of the liquid, so that's a no-go. An almond flour you can probably get away with. Buckwheat flour is a definite. I'm just using a white whole wheat, because I don't have lots of ingredients and I need to go shopping and I haven't done that yet. So, yay! So we're gonna use that. And then we have the rest of the yogurt. It called for about a cup and 2/3 of yogurt. However, I have about a little less than that. I think we'll be fine. I also put a little less of flour just to see if I can get the ratio correct. So we're gonna mix this together. You don't want to mix it too much because it's gonna end up with a tough dough if you do that. You just want it enough to be mixed completely. Okay, so I'm just mixing with my hands, but I don't want to mix too much because you don't want to knead. You don't want it to, again, to be a tough dough. You just want it to come together. Okay, so now we have it all together. Well, you know, in the food sense, not the life sense. And we're just gonna make this into 6 different balls. Okay, we got sticky dough. So we're just gonna get probably a wooden surface, and we're gonna just roll them out. Okay, I'm going hard, heavy duty with the marble type of rolling pin. You can use wooden, you just would have to flour it as well. This probably still should be floured, but oh well, not going to be. So here we go, that's one. I'm gonna go like that, so at least it has a floured surface on both sides. And just roll it out. Oh, it's kind of sticking. Okay, let's try this one. Actually, this one works better. So wooden is the way to go for this one. Okay, so there we go. These are the most irregularly shaped circles ever. So at least they're ready, and let's move over to the pan. Okay, so I have a very hot smoking skillet, probably too hot, but oh well. And we'll start with the first one. Woo. I think it'll work. It only needs to go for about a minute on each side, so. Okay, I think it's time to flip. It's kind of rising just a little bit. Yeah, it looks good. This I think is gonna be really good. Kind of excited. Now you don't actually have to spray or butter the cast iron skillet, because it works fine dry. However, I was afraid that it would stick, so I did spray it. So we'll see how the next batch looks without it being sprayed. But this is rising, so it looks good, which makes sense because there, you know, was self-rising flour in it with the yogurt. And the awesome thing is because the yogurt is acidic, and we have a little bit of baking soda with the basic flavor or the alkaline flavor. Both the acidity and the alkaline flavor plus the sweetness will probably help it from being too meh that I feel like I get from baking soda. I feel like maybe I'm the only person who tastes it. Comment below if you're not the only person, or if I'm not the only person really. Okay, let's take this off. Looks pretty good to me. You want to check it out? At least the first one. Woo! Looks good to me. Let's make the rest. Okay, last one. Yeah, looks good. And now we have a pile of flatbreads. So let me just turn off the flame so I don't, burn anything. And now we're gonna slather some butter. Actually, first we're gonna try it without anything, and then we're gonna slather it with butter, because why not? Looks pretty good. See? Pretty good flatbread. And look at it rose. Right? Looks pretty good. So let's try this out. Tastes pretty good to me. If anything, it's not overly sweet. You could have this with like meats, cheeses, whatever. This is good. It's dough. It's a little crunchy on the outside. Crunchy in terms of you get a tear. And the inside's a little doughy. But you can just cook it for longer. It said a minute on each side. I didn't actually measure. But also remember, the one I'm eating right now isn't as thin as the other ones that I did. And if you have increased surface area, you decrease the cooking time, even when you keep the same temperature. So, because I did not increase my surface area, I probably needed more time to cook with that same temperature. So let's try it with butter. Butter! Because, butter's delicious. If you don't want to do butter, you can probably do cream cheese. You can eat this with some meats, cheeses. I'm thinking great for fajita chicken, or to dip in some chili or some soup. So let's try this one. I think I added too much butter. Nah, you can never add too much butter. Oh yeah, I may have added too much butter. Just for the fact that now it's dripping. But it's good. It's very good. So, breakdown again. Real simple. Fine, that's okay. You want 2 cups of self-rising flour, or you can do a tablespoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of salt, and the rest of it to make the 2 cups of the self-rising flour. Because you want that rise, you want that gluten, you want the ripping ability. If you're using flours that are gluten-free, then you're gonna want to have a flour that has xanthan gum in it. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the flour. And then you just have about a cup and 2/3 of the yogurt. I used one that had flavoring already in it because I needed to get rid of the rest of it, but you can use a Greek yogurt, which is a great choice if you want it to be a little more acidic to go with the baking soda, but it worked out all around better anyway. Because, a little bit of sweet, a little bit of salty, who doesn't love that? And that's it. That's all you do. Literally mix it, not too much, roll it out, throw it into a cast iron skillet, and just let it cook. It's pretty awesome. So if you ever need a bread in a rush, probably don't want to do this one because this one is not a rush. But if you're ever desperate and you have time to kill and you have kids that are, need something to do and it takes a while, and then they get snacks later with hummus or something, this is it for you. So success! I'll catch you next time, and I'm just going to keep stuffing my face.